When you get up close and personal with the enemy, where you can smell the bratwurst on the enemy's breath, there's only one way to make them disappear without further argument, and that's a whole lot of boom. Enter the Churchill AVRE. Good afternoon, I'm Old Dead Man, your host. Welcome to War Thunder's website. Yes, we have got yet another event coming starting on the 5th of June. That's going to be, the main prize here is going to be the Churchill AVRE, which is one of the infamous Hobart's Funnies. Now, these vehicles are ones that provide very specific capabilities to units on the battlefield. While that would include many designs based on the M4 Sherman and the Churchill, from mine flayers to canvas layers, the most common feature is a whole lot of boom. In this case, in the form of a mortar recoiling spigot 29mm. 29mm does not sound like much until you realize this was just the firing pin for a 230mm round with 40 pounds, or about 18 kilograms, of explosives that was affectionately called the Flying Dustbin. Really, though, we have to back up in time to the infamous raid on Dieppe, where engineers attempting to clear anti-tank obstacles found themselves under heavy fire, which kept them and their tanks pinned down under withering barrage. The initial design was intended to convert a Churchill into a glorified armored personnel carrier, with relatively protected working positions to set their charges using the side doors on the Churchill. Thus, the entire inside of the Churchill ended up being stripped out, and the insides turned into an engineer's paradise, which would include chock full of boxes of explosives, fuses, charges, related equipment, anything that they would need to do their engineer responsibilities on the front lines. But then somebody came up with a bright idea. What if, and stick with me here, what if we could fire a huge explosive charge right from the inside of the tank entirely? And thus the 230mm firing 29mm spigot mortar was born. Loading this thing was sporting. Kind of like a break-action shotgun. You would break it in half and bring the barrel up, in this case tilting it up, and then that would reveal the chamber where a gunner could shove a fresh round. They would do this by rotating the turret around to where it was over the bow gunner's position, who would then open his hatch, grab a round, shove it into the tube like a gigantic shotgun shell, and then it would be the tube would be rotated back into position. They'd stick their mortar in, and they'd be ready to fire. Now, this did give you an effective range of about 80 yards with a maximum range of about 230. That would be about 70-ish meters to about 200-ish meters for the metric peoples. This is not just the whites of their eyes range. This is, you're grabbing the little dangly thing at the back of their throat and strangling them with it range. That's how close you had to be to make effective use of the Churchill AVRE's gun. Still, they were well regarded in service. The Churchill itself would actually make it all the way to the Korean War, though no reports on whether the AVREs were among them that I could find. Save for this unusual gun, though, the Churchill AVRE is typical for a Churchill, running around at about 25 kilometers per hour with decent armor for its lumbering size. In War Thunder, it will be a Rank 2 premium in the British Tree, all part of the Operation Overlord event. Speaking of, if you want this Churchill, you're not going to just be able to go and buy it with Golden Eagles. You're going to need to grind starting on June 5th. 6 stages, with a new stage starting every 2 days, and 35,000 points per stage. Standard garden variety stuff for the new event program. You can also get a few decals and decorators just right here. The emblem of the 5th Corps decal, the emblem of the 1st Special Service Brigade, and the Flying Dustbin decoration. If in the end you don't want to keep your Churchill AVRE but want to sell it, double the grind almost for 500,000 total mission points over the course of the event. You can earn points in ground battles at rank 3 or above in arcade, realistic, or simulator battles with multipliers for rank and mode. So if you're playing, top tier tanks in simulator battles, you're going to get these points in a hurry. If you're playing arcade at rank 3, not so much. You can also use special event vehicles from the past in ranks 1 and 2, so at least that gives them some purpose in life. And that kind of brings me to the downside to the Churchill AVRE. It is rank 2. Premium, but rank 2. So once you get the vehicle, unless you're going to spend a lot of time at rank 2 in Britain, you're probably not going to drive this thing all that much. Could be useful for future events, but again, it's rank 2. So keep that in mind as you grind for this. That said, I'm excited about it. I would actually like to get this one. And, for those that don't have the time, Gaijin does provide the option to buy each of the stages individually. If you've ground part of the stage but haven't got all of it, they do have some prorated points, so you can buy it for less golden eagles than the whole amount. So let me know, are you going to jump in on this Operation Overlord event to get the Churchill AVRE? Is it something you're excited about? I know several of my buds are big on want to get this one. So we'll see if how this kind of goes out and how it falls out. From a uniqueness perspective, I don't think you could beat this for a prize. I wish it was rank 3, though. If it was, it would be worth a whole lot more to me. That said, I'm probably going to go for it. If I've got the time, I'm going to probably grind it out and get this tank and see what it's like to actually drive with the big old flying dustbin. You have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next video.